Welcome to the Leader of You, Leading Beyond Limits, Awaken You Matter. This summit is about one thing. It's about you, is recognizing that you matter and awaken to the truth that you have the power to lead your life. Break through your limitations and create the future you've always wanted. Over the course of this event, we're going to deep dive into beliefs, habits, and actions that shape your life both consciously and unconsciously. Many of us are held back by limiting beliefs and we don't even know exist. Beliefs that are formed in childhood that drive our decisions, our actions, and ultimately our outcomes. This summit is designed to help you to awaken to these hidden forces and break free from them, align your actions with the person you truly meant to be. And today, I have the great pleasure of introducing Laura Harper from Integrity Advisors Group. I first met Laura at a Lineable networking event, and if you're not plugged into that, I highly encourage you to do so. We naturally connected, and given my decades of entrepreneurial and business experience, I understand one of the most crucial aspects of running a successful business is forward-thinking tax strategies. Understanding tax laws and codes is instrumental in keeping revenue in your business while it's benefiting your family and communities. What Laura's team stands out is the inclusion of Michael Fussell, an exceptional attorney with 27 years experience in tax law. Having someone like Laura, supported by Michael's deep experience on your team, is not just invaluable, it's a game changer. Their combined knowledge ensures that money you might otherwise pay in taxes is strategically reinvested into your business. Now, I have encountered tax landmines before, and let me tell you, they can be unexpectedly painful, sometimes real painful. If you don't live, eat, and breathe tax laws, codes, and no upcoming changes, you're taking unnecessary risks that can eventually explode in your business and your life. So, with their expertise, Laura and Michael collaborate seamlessly with accountants, CPAs, financial advisors, and their staff. And they're, in addition to the team, they're not replacing all those. They extend complete package. Or perhaps you've been wearing all those hats as well. I've been there too. And need to develop strong strategies wherever you're at in your business that will provide clarity and direction for the business year after year. As someone who values leading my own business with vision rather than getting trapped in day-to-day operations, I confidently can say that this is a smart move that definitely brings about some peace of mind. So I have the privilege of meeting Laura's incredible inner circle of support, and they become a valuable part of our community. And Laura is the kind of servant leader we all need. Someone who truly understands your needs and works tirelessly to help you succeed. So give a big welcome and a warm welcome to Laura Harper from Integrity Advisors Group. Hello, Laura. How are you today?
I'm good. I'm good. How are you?
I am very blessed, and I really appreciate you joining us today because what you have to share is very crucial to building a successful business for any business. And I know that, like I said, we have met before, and it just I naturally gravitated to you. So you're a leader for one, you're compassionate, and you have a heart to serve, and a wealth of experience and connections to share with the community. So let's kind of start off with the audience to help them understand, why people don't use a tax attorney. Because I know from my experience previously in smaller businesses, we always gravitate to CPAs. And I also know that there's a lot of information in tax code that a tax attorney would know that's not into the platforms. They just don't put it all in there. So if you would kind of lead us in that direction, why don't people use the tax attorney?
Absolutely. So nice to meet everybody. I'm happy to be here today. I honestly think, as a small business owner, sometimes we think of a retainer and we think of an added expense. And,
Mm,
I don't need to do that. I'm just going to trust my CPA. And I know our CPAs, they're great. They're wonderful. I love my CPA. My husband and I, we used to fix and flip houses.
mhm,
And I was constantly asking my CPA, how can I save more money? Well, go buy something. I got to tell you, I went out one year and my husband and I bought an RV and we wrapped our logo on it and we kept our tile and it was our mobile showroom. And we spent a ton of money to try and reduce our taxes. But I also didn't know at that point that entity structure is what houses statutory tax breaks,
mhm.
and CPAs cannot give entity structure advice because it's a legal functionality.
I
So
see.
they can't tell you you should be this entity structure or that entity structure. They can only advise you and say maybe you should be, but
Mhm,
they can't give that legal advice, which is where Mike Fussell is the expert. He spends all day looking at the entity structure and the statutory tax breaks and all of those savings that us as small business owners miss out on. The good thing is, when you find a service like ours, it's a no net cost. So there is no retainer service when you
mhm,
utilize Mike and I. If we find you savings, you're going to give that money to Uncle Sam. Instead of giving that money to Uncle Sam, a small portion goes to us and the rest goes to you for the life of your business. The savings that we find, they roll over every single year. So I think that some people don't use tax attorneys because they don't want to pay every single year for a tax attorney, and a situation like what Mike and I do, you get all that information immediately. We put it into play for you. We get your entity structure set up properly, and we help you implement those strategies. And I think that is huge for someone that's scared of tax, like I was. I didn't know what to do. So I think that's why a lot of people don't lean towards attorneys, but they don't know the value that an attorney can give you. And we love your CPA. If you do, we do too, because we don't do compliance. There is a difference between what an attorney does and a CPA does. It's almost like your CPA is your primary care doctor and your surgeon is your lawyer. You know, the lawyer's gonna fix your foot if you have a break, but your regular doctor's not. So it's kind of that next level of care that our small business community miss out on. So that's kind of what I think, and I think that's why I used a tax attorney in the beginning to get my entity structure set up properly. But I didn't get all the benefits that I wanted. All those strategies weren't built into that package, which is why Mike is very special to make sure that you use them all and you know how they work.
that is very true. And I'll give an example that I ran across myself that I didn't know about was an FFCRA. It's a tax code that was created for COVID at the time, and it was geared for small businesses, but it wasn't advertised. And the CPAs didn't know about it because it wasn't written into their software base because it's too short term, and that's not something that they pumped up. But a tax attorney that specializes in knowing these laws would.
Yep.
And so therefore, for example, when I applied for mine and other people applied for it, it could have been anywhere from $10,000 to $40,000 for a tax year. That's
Yep.
a lot of money. That
Yeah.
would easily pay for the attorney work. And so that's just one example of many others. And then you mentioned something very important is understanding how to structure a corporation, and that leads into asset protection and also tax ability to write-offs. And we're using the same tax code as billionaires as even a small business. It doesn't change. It changes, but it's available for all of us.
Yeah.
And so if we don't know how to maneuver in those categories, which best fits our business, then we're not sure, we're not maximizing the full benefit for one. And two, we may have some things at risk. So I know you wanted to talk about some asset protection. That's a good segue right there to talk
Yeah.
about.
Asset protection is huge, and it doesn't matter what industry you're in. I did run across somebody the other day, and he's getting sued, and it was completely out of his hands. But you know what he didn't have? His corporate formalities weren't put into place.
Mm-hmm.
So if you don't have your corporate formalities put into place, if you don't have a set of books that have your corporate formalities in it, you haven't properly set up your entity structure. Which means that if you do get sued, they could pierce the corporate veil. They could try and
Absolutely.
go after your personal assets. So
Mm-hmm.
an attorney is going to sit down, Mike would sit down and make sure that all of your documentation is done properly and you have a set of books. Those corporate books are important. We also look at ways to segregate your employees from your main operating entity. And by pulling your employees out, if anything ever did happen and you're a roofer and one of your employees falls off the roof and he becomes paralyzed, when you're in your the different entity structure and the employees are out, they can sue for the insurance policy, but there's no profits. If they're under your S corporation or your LLC, they can sue for the insurance policy and then try and go after more because that's where all your money's at. So using an attorney will help you with asset protection needs. They're going to help you also with estate planning and making sure that those assets are put into play. Let's say you have investment properties. Move them into a trust. Protect yourself further. There's a lot out there that is at risk when you own a business, and any small situation could turn huge. So asset protection is very, very important when you own your own business.
Yeah. So I just so that everybody understands this clearly, I'm just going to repeat back what you just said, so that I'm clear as well, because this is very important. So I own a business, and it's actually a C corp, and I have 10 plus employees. Okay, and then something happens. For one thing, if my books, like meeting minutes and any type of change, corporate change of officers or anything that's not listed, I'm leaving myself vulnerable for one, and Michelle can be pierced. And then secondly, if it is pierced, then I'm minimizing my risk, because I'm just basically keeping operation and payroll within that corporation. But I'm taking profits, if you will, and putting into another corporation itself. And then from there, I can further protect myself by putting that into a trust. So it becomes a deeper level where I can't get, if something happens, God forbid that it does, we don't want it to, but if it does, then we have a way that we're not completely stripped of everything, including our personal assets.
Yeah.
So that's about on point, isn't it, Laura?
Yeah, 100%. Utilizing a dual entity structure is what's going to create all of these savings, what's going to create asset protection. Just having a single S corporation or an LLC isn't getting you the savings that you need or giving you the protection that you need. So we definitely want to take a look at your entity structure and how your business is positioned, so that we can make those adjustments to save you money, create asset protection. All of those areas are all needing to be looked at as a small business owner.
All right, and all that lies into tax strategies too, forward thinking, as far as getting everything lined up. We've got this upcoming year now. This is beginning of tax season. Everybody's thinking of it, because roll December, we got to close the books for most corporations. And so this becomes an opportunity, like right now, for somebody to come consult you about this and start getting on track and getting prepared, so it doesn't catch you, flat-footed, if you will, for these things. And tax strategy lines perfectly enhances asset protection plans, all rolled up into one. So going from that, then how would you help somebody with something like that into succession planning?
Yeah. I mean, succession planning, exit strategy is huge. How do we want to pass down the business? What if you have a partner? So one of my best friends, her husband passed away of COVID, and he was in business with his brother, and it didn't turn out as peacefully as it would have been for my girlfriend, because she didn't get anything. The business moved into the brother's name, and That was it, right? So buy-sell agreements, if you have partners, they're huge. And you want to put that together while things are great. But what happens if one of you pass away and now you're in business with their wife? So exit strategy is huge. We do need to look at that. And then if you're looking to sell your business someday, we've got to talk about structuring you today as if you were going to sell in 5 years. So you have a sellable book of business.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say your children want to take over the business. We need to show you ways to pass the business down to them that's free of capital gains exposure. So there's a lot to do with exit strategy. So those are conversations that we absolutely need to have. Exit planning is huge. This is your retirement. This is your end of, whatever you want to do, sitting by a tree in Florida or sitting in the mountains. And, we need to plan today for tomorrow. And that's where we come into play, and we make sure that everything is talked about. And then those T's are crossed and I's are dotted. Especially if you have a partner, we need to get that all squared away. Maybe you need a key man policy.
Yes, definitely.
There's so much out there that these are areas we need to address.
Yeah. Elaborate a little bit on key man insurance so people understand what that means.
Key man
I know
insurance.
small business owners, I didn't know what it meant, early on in business, but
Yeah.
I certainly did later on.
Yeah. So if you have two partners, you take out a life insurance policy so that if one of you were to pass away, you would be able to pay the wife for your portion of the business. So life insurance just covers you either way if one of you should pass away prematurely.
Or find another talent that needs to complete, like having a CFO pass away or COO pass away or something like that. It provides money to be able to recruit as well.
Yep, absolutely. Yes, they could use those funds to replace their partner that they lost as well too.
Yeah.
Yep.
So there's a lot of things that are not intentionally thought of in business, and I'm again reiterating the importance of having somebody like Laura and Michael on your team to point out these things. As a business owner, we get into business a lot, and there's a huge bandwidth. It takes a huge amount of thinking and knowledge and continuing growth and leadership of being the leader of you in your own business. So it becomes important to find those people who support you that can reveal this type of information, guide you, support you, and don't and let you have time in the business to be the person that you need to be in the business. So Laura's excellent. I just want to keep adding that in because this is how important it is, and there's a lot of information in here that she's providing that is truly of value to you. So there's a lot of things that can happen in business. I mean, there's many other things that people face day to day, and this is one thing that you're real great about. Is because of your experience, you can handle multiple things that come up. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, we got constant changes in tax laws. They're coming up this year, and is there any that you can think of on top of your head that you may know of, or what to prepare for this year, or is it just something they need to go ahead and book for a consult?
I would definitely say if anyone has any of these issues that haven't been addressed, if you feel like you're overpaying in taxes on average, we'll find an individual anywhere from $20,000 to $70,000 worth of savings just based off statutory tax breaks that the lobbyists have fought for, that the large corporations are utilizing, that you're missing out if you only have an S corporation. We need to show you what else is out there. Our gift today is we're going to do a complimentary analysis for everyone that has a tax bill. I want to meet you all. Yes. We need to see what entity structure you're in. We need to see how many employees you have. We need to see how we can reduce payroll expenses. There's so much that we need to look into. We do a complimentary analysis. We do have a secured portal that we would ask that you upload your most current tax return in. Then once we do our analysis, you'll get a chance to meet Mike and myself. We'll go over all of those findings. We'll share with you what your savings will be every year. And we'll basically kind of lay the foundation out for you. We put everything together on our end. We would set up the entity structures that you're missing out on. We would send you your corporate books and go over your formalities together. So that's part of the process. We basically hold your hand through this process and work you through every step of the way. We'll even meet your financial advisor. So we will give you advice on retirement. Now, we're not financial advisors. So what we're going to do is we're going to share with you benefits of different retirement plans that you might want to look into and share with your financial advisor. We will look at estate planning. We want to review your will. We want to review your trust. If you don't have a will or trust, we're going to help you get that set up during this process. So we want to create that protection for your family, your future generations, and for yourself if you own investment properties and things of that nature. We're going to look at different areas. If you are an investor, we're going to talk about 1031 exchanges. We're going to talk about cost segregation. There's so much that we include. It covers you from A to Z. So if you have questions, this is definitely the time to get yourself set up for 2025. The thing about a tax strategy is you don't get the savings unless it's put into place. But once you set it up properly, it rolls over every single year for the life of the business. So taking this time, 15 minutes on the phone with me to see where you're at and to see where you could be, it's going to be huge for you in 2025.
Laura, typically, just to get the audience prepared, I know there's going to be a lot out there that want to come talk to you that see this, even on a personal level sometimes, because it's going to impact your personal level if you're an S corp or an LLC as well. And there, the fact that we have appreciation and depreciation too, that we might not be taking advantage of, especially in the C corp. But what would the audience need to do to come prepared to you to have a very efficient and meaningful meeting to discuss this?
Basic questions I'm going to ask are, what is your entity structure? What is your profit? What is your revenue? How many employees do you have? What are you doing for retirement? Do you have a will? Do you have a trust? So just basic questions that they should be able to answer. And then we'll send a confidentiality agreement from Mike Fussell and our secured portal for them to upload their tax returns. We do look at 3 years because if anything stands out to Mike that we could amend, we would have their CPA amend it and get them their money back. So we look at 3 years tax returns. If you have a profit and loss or a balance sheet, we ask you to add those in. But for the most part, we can really build a deliverable based off of what their savings are and the information we gather. So it's very simple. Yeah, it's a simple drag and drop into the secured portal, and then our team gets to work building out a package. Once you do become a client, we build a tax package for each of our clients. It does cover all of the entities or all of the statutory tax breaks with some dollar amounts and savings. So as long as these pages are filled out every year, they're going to know what their savings are. If you look in here, you'll see that we cover every section. So let me see if I can pop it on there. You've got entity structure, asset protection, tax savings, employee retention, retirement, succession, estate planning, advanced approaches. We cover everything from beginning to end. And we do deliver this to our clients in person if they'd like, or, so they will get an opportunity to meet Mike if they'd like to meet him in person. Sometimes my clients like to do it via Zoom because this is so nice and easy. But I do have clients that get to meet him in person, and it's a really nice process.
One thing that I found important in life, and then I found in you too, is connection. And the ease of being able to talk to you about these things. I totally trust you with these things. I know that you know your business in and out very well, which is key to me. And I'm speaking with the audience out there as well, because on this type of environment, a lot of times trust is hard to establish, but it's something that we invest a little time in and connect. And just the wealth of information that you give in here is of value for me. Just when I'm talking to you, when I first met you, it's like, well, there's a lot of things I didn't know. Yes, it will help me out, and what the savings are going to be, because it's net zero for you. It's whatever comes to the table, you take a portion of it for your services, and they keep the difference. I mean, how can you lose that? You don't pay it out anyway if you don't. So it's a win-win. That's important to me, because that's in contribution, not taken away. So all that checks my boxes to work with, and the community that you put together as well, which is highly important. That can support you in case something is not within your bailiwick, and you definitely know where to go to find somebody supporting that. So, yeah. So everybody, I encourage you to definitely, once again, if you're in business and you've been in business for a little bit and you've felt some pain, or you're just starting in business and would like to learn from us who've made mistakes in the past and gain from that, then highly suggest you just take 15 minutes. It's risk-free, non-committal, to talk to Laura and find where it goes. And if it's for you, fantastic. And I hope and pray that it benefits you greatly, because the more we build these businesses up back in America, you're rebuilding America. And we're starting to stand for our communities and rebuilding our communities. And we've been broken enough over these past several years that it's time that we work together and take care of each other. So, Laura, is there any other thing you'd like to cover before we close up for today?
Yeah, I just wanted to say one more thing. What we are not going to do is put anything high risk in front of our clients. So the strategies that we utilize have been around for decades. Mike has been doing this for 27 years, and his elders taught him these strategies. I was on TikTok the other day and I saw somebody posting how they're writing off their emotional support animal. And I'm like, okay, let's pause and audit, right? These strategies are not brand new. We are very conservative. Our clients Mike has been doing this 27 years. He's never had a tax strategy client become a tax defense client. So everything we put in front of you is very safe. Another thing is we don't replace anyone on your team. We are an addition to the team. So we work with your CPA, financial advisor, and all your guys. The next thing is that we're not that retainer service. So no net cost, just reallocating money you were given to Uncle Sam. We do not need to leave him a tip.
Amen.
He doesn't even send us a birthday card. So let's keep our money in our pocket.
I tell you, 100% again. I'm gonna go back. It's the same tax law, same tax code, whether you're making 100,000 or you're making billions. It's still the same, applies across the board. It's just now we need to get smarter about learning about it and then implement it in our lives. So, all right. Well, Laura, thank you greatly for the time today. I appreciate the value you're bringing to the table and your heart of giving and support and the leadership that you're bringing to help others see there are other ways to take advantage of tax code and strengthen their business, improve it, and actually just be able to work together as a team and support each other, which is very vital. That's one thing this leader of you is about, is working in a team and being the best version of ourselves. So again, anybody that's watching this, I highly suggest you, if you will, subscribe to the VIP so you can watch this over and over again. There's nuggets in there that you can keep. It's also a reminder of Laura that you can book that appointment, and you can watch it at any time, any place, anywhere, as this summit only happens once, and add it to your library. There's a lot of speakers. We have 18 speakers in this event. Everything has a contribution. In fact, some of Laura's friends and people are in this event that will provide additional service. I want you to hear as well. So thank you again, audience. We appreciate your time in joining us today. We love you. We appreciate you, and God bless. And enjoy your day. See you soon. Bye.